Hi, I'm James. I'm a knee, foot and ankle specialist, and today I'm going to talk you through the best shoes for wide feet. I've compiled 3 different types of shoes that are wide in the toe box, an anatomical width, and wide throughout the whole shoe to give you a broad spectrum of different shoes. Also, it varies depending on the type of cushioning, the type of stability and support in the shoe will influence what you feel in terms of how much it supports and cradles your foot on top. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the amount of cushioning in each shoe. So in the first shoe, we've got the Brooks Ghost Max 2. It has 39mm of cushion in the rear foot, 33 in the forefoot, giving you a 6mm drop throughout the shoe. It has a nitrogen infused DNA Loft V3 cushioning. So it's super soft, super plush. So when you initiate contact with the ground, you sink into the shoe. It feels like you're walking on a cloud. A really luxurious fit, really nice and comfortable. But as a result, you get a slightly heavier shoe coming in at around 309 grams for men's size 9 US. Then in contrast to that, you have the very firm cushioning in the Altra Paradigm 7. So the cushioning within this is the Ego Max cushioning. So when you apply pressure to it, it really pushes you back. It's quite a hard feel, and while it's still quite comfortable, those who don't like that really plush type feel might enjoy the Paradigm a little bit more. The Paradigm fits in with all the other Altra range in terms of it's a zero drop. So it's got 30mm of cushioning throughout the whole shoe, and it comes in about 279 grams for men's 9 US. Then finally, we've got the Topo Phantom 3. So it's got the zip foam cushioning underneath. So it sits somewhere in the middle of these two. So you sink into it a little bit. It's quite balanced cushioning. It's responsive, so it pushes you back out again. So it's got more energy return than both shoes. So it's a bit more of a comfortable shoe with some springiness to it. And that has a different effect depending on what type of runs or walks you like to do. And we'll touch on that in a while. Otherwise, it's got a 5mm drop with 33mm in the rear foot, 28 in the forefoot, coming in about 260 grams for men's 9 US. So it's the lightest of all 3 shoes, and it's got more of a balanced cushioning compared to the other 2 shoes. Then when we think of how much stability each shoe provides, so they're all what we classify as a stable neutral shoe. So they have a neutral flat bed in them, but they have elements of stability to them. So for instance, in the Phantom 3, you've got mild sidewalls on the inside and on the outside of the shoe. So they come up, help cradle your foot to reduce how much it moves side to side, help to resist pronation moments. It's got mild to moderate stiffness in the heel cup, so that just wraps around your heel cup, tries to keep it nice and stable as it initiates contact with the ground. It's got a nice broad base of support that doesn't narrow in the midsole, increasing the amount of contact that you have with the ground. And it's got some nice sole flare that comes out along the side of the shoe. Again, it just comes out wider than where your foot sits in the bed, giving you more stability, more support underfoot. Whereas in the Paradigm 7, it's classified more as a stable to neutral rather than a neutral stable, and it has bigger sidewalls, which they call guide rails, that run on the inside and on the outside of the shoe. So these come up and really cradle and hold your foot centered in the shoe throughout the gait cycle. So as you move from heel contact through to mid stance, it's really supporting you throughout. Again, it's got a broad base of support underneath and in the midsole, as a little bit of sole flare, but not as much as what you see in the Topo Phantom 3. So it does a really good and excellent job at providing stability when it's combined with a firm midsole. So a firm midsole reduces how much your foot's going to move on top of the cushioning. Then the guide rails and the wide base of support makes it a really stable shoe. Then finally, you've got something in the middle with the Ghost Max 2. So you've got some sidewalls on the outside here and then a large one on the inside. However, because it's the softest of all 3 shoes, it makes it inherently a little bit more unstable. Therefore, your peroneals and your posterior tibial tendon has to work a little bit harder to keep your foot stable, but it's got a nice broad base of support underneath your foot and a little bit of sole flaring to give you that extra bit of stability. So it's by no means unstable like the New Balance 108 V13. However, it is a little bit less stable than the other 2 options. Then as we move towards the upper, there's a nice engineered mesh on all 3 shoes with a bit more of a plush feel on top of the Brooks Ghost Max 2. So it's a little bit thicker of a cushioning, probably nicer, a little bit nicer in the winter, where it's a bit more breathable in the Altra and in the Topo. So then we move on to the toe boxes and the overall width of the shoes. So in the Ghost Max, you've got a similar profile throughout the whole length of the shoe. So it's nice and wide in the heel, midfoot and in the toe box. It's a true to size length, so you don't need to size up or down. Then it's available in a narrow, normal, wide and extra wide. So the normal is relatively wide, but then you can go as broad as you like. So if you have a foot that's broad throughout the entire length of the shoe, then this can be an excellent option for you. However, if you have a slightly narrower heel and midfoot and a broader forefoot, then the Altra is a good option. It's got no heel cup, which is really rare in most modern day shoes, so that's really helpful if you've got an insertional Achilles tendinopathy or Haglund's deformity, or you just don't like pressure on the back of your heel. This is nice and soft, nice and flexible, so it's going to move with your foot. It's complemented by the big sidewalls on the side, so you don't need to worry about excessive movement on top, but it's just nice and soft on your heel. Then it's got an anatomical toe box, so you can see it's nice and broad and wide in the toe box, so plenty of space for your toes to splay. When that's combined with a zero drop, it means a nice even distribution of force across the base of your foot. Then finally we've got the Topo Phantom 3, and I think these do the best job when you're looking for a wide toe box shoe, because it's super snug in the heel and in the midfoot, and then it really gradually broadens out into the forefoot. So you've got loads of space in around your smaller toe, your pinky toe, and loads of space for your toes to splay. It doesn't narrow in the midsole like some other barefoot shoes do, or minimalist shoes that have a wide toe box, so it keeps you a broad platform which is nice and stable, so your foot can spread underneath, and it's got loads of spacious room on top. So this is an excellent option, especially for those who have a normal heel and midfoot, and then they often have a bunion or hallux valgus, which really increases the width of their forefoot, and they tend to find when they just get a wide option of a normal shoe, their foot is just moving or swinging around inside the shoe because there's too much space towards the back of the shoe. This covers all the options. It keeps your foot nice and snug and gives you loads of space in the toe box, so it's a really excellent option. All three shoes have a nice padded tongue. They're not stitched in, so they're not gusseted, so the lockdown is pretty good. They don't move side to side, but it's just something to note. It's got mild to moderate padding on the Phantom and on the Altra, while you've got loads of luxurious cushion and padding on the Brooks Ghost Max 2, and that just adds to the overall weight of the shoe. Then in terms of if you're looking to run with the shoes, the Brooks Ghost Max is definitely a heavy cruisy shoe, so you might use it for recovery days if you're spending lots of time standing on your feet, or for long walks. Just that little bit of extra weight really makes it not so good for longer runs, or definitely not for up-tempo runs. The Altra is a little bit firmer and a little bit snappier, so you can use it for shorter, faster runs. I wouldn't say up-tempo or fartlek, but if you want to do a moderate pace 5k or 10k, excellent shoe. I think the cushioning is probably just a little bit too firm to go really long marathon distance or ultra, and you might find it just a little bit uncomfortable on your feet. That's not to say it's not possible, but for the broad majority of people that might be the case. Then with the Topo, it sits somewhere in the middle. It's a daily trainer, so it kind of eats up the miles. You can use it for your daily runs, for your longer runs. It can do up-tempo work, but it's probably not as snappy as some other shoes on the market, but probably your best option if you're looking for a wide toe box option. Then all three shoes are linked in the description below. If you purchase through the links, it really helps fund the channel without affecting the price that you pay. If that's not an option for you, just liking and sharing the video really makes a big difference to us. We have links to lots of different reviews on all of these shoes and more from each brand, if you want to check them out in the description or in our catalogue. And again, thank you very much for watching.